Okay, again, I am telling you, please don't confuse between so many functions of vitamins and minerals. You can remember the major one which I am telling you to remember. Okay, now let's come to minerals. What is the difference between vitamins and minerals?
So vitamins are organic and minerals are inorganic.
Yes, vitamins are organic, means they have to be synthesized in some living creatures, that may be plant, that may be us, that may be any animals, but minerals can be found in earth crust. They are inorganic elements. So minerals are also very much required for normal functioning of our body. Classification of minerals. Minerals are divided into two major categories. This is very much important. One are major minerals, one are trace minerals. And you have to remember the names of major minerals and names of trace minerals. First, I will explain what are major minerals and what are trace minerals. So, major minerals are those minerals which our body needs around 100 milligrams per or more a day, means more than 100 or more than 100 milligrams. If our body uh, is if our body uh, need that amount of any mineral like 100 milligrams or more per day, if it is our requirement, then that mineral is major minerals. Trace minerals are those minerals which are not required in that much amount, which are required in very small amount, that is less than 100 milligrams per day. So trace minerals are required in very small amount, like less than 100 milligrams per day, and major minerals are required in a higher amount, that is 100 milligrams or more per day. So major minerals are calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, and sulfur. You can see here sodium and chloride are also major minerals. So we are taking sodium chloride, means salt, in very large amount as compared to other minerals. So these all are major minerals. These are required in very good amount. Others are trace minerals. Here you can see iron. Iron is a trace mineral. Like we very much heard about this iron, like we have iron deficiency, everyone should take iron. Irrespective of how much famous is any mineral, how much famous is deficiency of any mineral, they can be traced, they can be major. Iron supplement are taken by many people, especially in their when they are pregnant, because of they also have to complete the iron need of the growing fetus. But irrespective of that, iron is a trace minerals. Many people confuse in this. Iron can be a major mineral, but it is not like that. Iron is a trace mineral. Iodine, fluoride, copper, chromium, manganese, molybdenum is the least required. These two are least required minerals. And zinc. So please try to remember this: calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, and sulfur. These are major minerals. Chromium, copper, fluoride, iodine, iron, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, and zinc. These are trace mineral. What you can do, you can just remember these major minerals, and when you will remember these major minerals, all other mineral except these major minerals then are trace mineral. Because sometimes what happen, some minerals which are required for our body contains many minerals, like uh, around 40, 50, all minerals are present in our body and they are doing some function, and many functions of many mineral are still unknown. We are yet to discover the whole function of all the minerals. So sometimes what happens, in many books you will find one or two trace mineral also. So better to remember name of major minerals, and then you can just put all other minerals, whether they are in this list or not. You can put all those minerals into trace minerals. So just remember the name of these major minerals, then you can attempt the question if it will be asked from this section. So now let's come to general function and efficiency of mineral. We will discuss main function and efficiency of some important minerals. Okay, first one is calcium. So calcium, uh, okay, okay, recording is going on. Calcium. So calcium is required for bone health. And yesterday I also told you about like deficiency of calcium lead to which disease?
Osteoporosis.
Yes, osteoporosis and deficiency of vitamin D. If there is deficiency of vitamin D and our body is unable to absorb calcium from diet, then that condition is known as
Osteomalacia.
yes, osteomalacia. Okay, so this is calcium. This is responsible for bone health, maintenance of normal blood pressure, and muscle contraction. One more important function of calcium, it helps in blood clotting. It is not mentioned here, but it is very much important. Okay, so for calcium, you can remember bone health, teeth health, maintenance of normal blood pressure, and muscle contraction and blood clotting. Calcium plays a role of intrinsic factor. Like as we know, which hormone responsible for blood clotting, or we can say which, sorry, not hormone, which vitamin?
Vitamin K.
K.
Yeah, vitamin K. Yesterday we studied. Now, vitamin K is responsible for blood clotting, and which blood protein is responsible for which blood protein and which blood cells are responsible for clot?
Fibrinogen.
Yeah, fibrinogen. This is blood protein, and blood cells are platelets. Okay, so these all are plays important role in blood clotting, but calcium plays a role of intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor means whenever there is an injury, first the cells of that place will release calcium, and because of releasing of calcium, these all will be activated. Like these platelets will start mixing up these fibrinogen, and then clotting will be there. So calcium is having a very important role in blood clotting. Okay, so calcium deficiency, uh, this calcium deficiency will ultimately leads to osteoporosis and weakening of bones and hypocalcemia. This condition is known as hypocalcemia, low blood calcium level. And you just need to remember osteoporosis and weakening of bones. Next is chloride. Okay, so one is chloride. Please note down this. One is chloride. Uh, Other one is sodium and potassium. Please note these three together: chloride, potassium, and sodium. So I think all of you are aware of this fact that in high blood pressure, in hypertension, we should avoid salt. But why we should avoid salt if there is hypertension?
So salt has more sodium.
Salt has more sodium, more chloride, but what are they doing there? Why only salt is restricted? Why not like some other minerals?
Not sure, sir.
Okay. Uh, so this we all know, but like these sodium, potassium, and chloride, these maintain fluid and electrolyte balance. Fluid and electrolyte balance.
Sir, your
Uh,
voice is breaking, sir. Hello, sir. Your voice is
uh,
breaking, sir.
okay, now it's clear.
Yeah, it's better, sir.
Okay, I think some network issue is there. Okay, this chloride, potassium, and sodium. These maintains fluid and electrolyte balance. Fluid and electrolyte balance. Uh, this we will also discuss in water. Let's discuss here only. Then we can skip that in water part. Okay, just a minute. Okay, you can assume our body like a glass of water. You can assume our body like a glass of water. What is fluid and electrolyte balance? Fluid and electrolyte balance means in our body there is water. You can assume in a glass of a glass in which there is water, and in this water there is some concentration of salt, and that concentration should be specific. Like the taste of our tearsness, a little bit salty. So that is our body electrolyte concentration. Like in our body, every cell, every in every fluid, that much amount of salt should be present. So in our whole body, if we just we try to understand our whole body with a glass of water, then in this glass of water some water is there and some salt is mixed with this water. So this is in general our whole body. So these three elements, sodium, chloride, and potassium, these are the most important electrolyte that are working to maintain this concentration of salt or concentration of electrolyte in our body. So what will happen if their concentration would be increased? Okay, let's discuss this completely here. It will take some time. Then we will not have to discuss it in water section and electrolyte section. Okay, now let's discuss a scenario in which there is high salt and less water. Okay, let's skip this. Now let's suppose you have glass of water in which high salt. Then what will you do to make this salt normal?
And
Add more water.
water.
You will add water. Obviously, like you will add water. So similar things happen in our body. Like this is your blood vessels. When you are having high salt, means you are taking high salt. High salt means not exactly salt, but sodium. As I told you, just glass of water I am talking with our body, and salt means all electrolyte, and in these electrolyte they are very much responsible for all this: sodium chloride, and the third one is potassium. So especially potassium is not that much present in any other food item. So generally we will not talk about that potassium. But sodium and chloride, this is salt. So what happen if you are taking more salt? Then our body, in order to maintain the osmotic concentration, in order to maintain the concentration, our body will try to increase the water content in this blood vessel. As I already told you, to maintain a specific concentration of salt and water is very much needed for our body, for vital functions of our body. This concentration is known as osmotic concentration. Osmotic concentration means electrolyte and water balance. This is very much important for our body. So if you are taking high salt, if if in our body there is high salt concentration, if we are consuming high salt, then the water and electrolyte balance will be disturbed. There will be more electrolyte as compared to water. Then what our body will do, as you answer, our body will try to retain more water in blood vessels. So more water with blood in blood vessels will ultimately leads to increasing or decrease in blood pressure.
Increase.
Yeah, increase in blood pressure. That's why while if anyone is having hypertension, so it is like prescribed not to have that much salt. And if you are having low blood pressure, then it is not that much required, like you can take salt water. If you are taking salt water, then you should also take some water, or you can directly take some electrolyte water if you are having low blood pressure, so that water will be retained in your blood vessel. And if you want to lower down blood pressure, just if you want to lower down blood pressure, just lower down salt intake. If you will lower down salt intake of any person, then electrolyte ratio will be decreased in blood vessels, and to maintain that osmotic concentration, body will also decrease water level, and the water level will be decreased, means volume of blood will be decreased, and ultimately blood pressure will be decreased. So these three are known to control the amount of water anywhere. That's why while we do jalaneti, in jalaneti, what we used to do, we used to do some salt in our neti pot with water, and that salt amount is not very much fixed in. Uh, I don't remember the text, whether it is Hat Pradipika or Ghiran Sanhita or some other text can be, but it is written that the salt should be like in that much amount. How salty are our tears? How much salty are our tears? That much salt we need to add in that pot. So it is like our body is having that much osmotic concentration. So the water we are putting in our body, it should be in accordance with the osmotic concentration of our body. If it will be there, then there will be no problem in performing jalaneti. Now Let's discuss two more scenarios. I know, like it is just out of this topic, but it can be asked in your practical last unit, yoga practical unit. So two neti pots are there, and it is your body, means it is your nasal tract. So in one neti pot, there is more salt, and in other neti pot, there is less salt as needed. I am again repeating, the amount is not fixed. It should be according to osmotic concentration of your body, and you can know it through your tears. And this is our nasal tract. So more salt. If you are doing jalaneti with the water having more salt, what will happen? Osmotic concentration of this fluid is higher, means in this there is more salt and less water. As compared to salt, there is less water. Then what will happen when this fluid will pass through our nasal passage? As we know, water always flow from higher concentration to lower concentration. So in this fluid, there is more salt and less water. What will happen? From your nasal path, water will be comes out, and uh, water will be comes out, and it will uh, be out of your body with this fluid. Actually, this more salt is like attracting water, and it will draw out water from your cells. So if you are doing jalaneti with more salt, more salty water, then you will feel dryness whole day. Sometimes we feel dryness after doing jalaneti whole day, like dryness, irritation. It is because we have added more salt, and more salt means less water. So water will flow from our cells to this fluid, and our cells will be water deficient, our cells and our tissues. Now let's discuss with this less salt water. Less salt and more water. So if you are doing jalaneti with less concentration of salt and higher concentration of water, what will happen then?
So water will be absorbed by our cells.
Yeah, water will be absorbed by our cell, and that's why many times when we perform jalaneti, we feels like a type of I don't know the exact word, like
Heaviness and
uh,
headache.
headache and bharipan. In Hindi, we
Heaviness.
can say bharipan. Like what we will say in English,
Heaviness, sir. Heaviness.
heaviness. Some heaviness we feel after performing jalaneti, and sometimes we feel dryness and itchiness. So this is all because of the salt condition, and this is we add salt in jalaneti. So more salt means water will comes out from our cell to this less water concentration, and water is coming out of our cell. Then this condition is known as exoosmosis. And this condition is known as endoosmosis. So endoosmosis means our cell and tissue will absorb water because it is having more concentration as compared to salt, and it will lead to heaviness, and this will lead to dryness. Now, one more condition. This we are covering water part. Like this is a glass of water. What people make usual mistake if they are doing some physical activity like playing sports, doing yoga, if they are sweating too much, then what common mistake people do, like this is a glass of water. in this there will be some specific concentration of electrolyte and water. So after some physical activity, let's suppose your body release some amount of water, and in this glass, as we are comparing our body with this glass, in this glass water become half. So what is the ideal way to fill up this glass? Do we just need to add water in this, or we need to water and salt both?
Water and salt both, sir.
Yeah, I think you are understanding what I want to say. Like if you are doing some physical activity, your fluid goes out of your body through sweating, and water and electrolyte both comes in the form of sweat. So now if you want to again replenish the water quantity and electrolyte quantity of your body, so after a heavy workout, after too much sweating, don't just take water, take electrolyte also. And that's why many athletes, they always keeps ors with them. Whether whenever there is very much sweating, they take some amount of ors also. Ors is best way to complete electrolyte in our body, oral rehydration solution. Without electrolyte, what will happen? Without electrolyte, first thing, your body will not hold that water, because for holding that water electrolyte is needed, because our body always try to make a osmotic concentration equal. So while you are doing some physical exercises, always try to add electrolyte in water, always try to add ors in water. Because like imagine in this there is some salt and water remaining, and you just added water. So now the concentration of salt is very much low, and it will ultimately leads to the dysfunctioning of our large intestine, and it will then leads to diarrhea, because our large intestine is also very specific and very uh, like sensitive to this osmotic concentration. And after sweating, if you are just providing water to your body, not electrolyte, then concentration of electrolyte will fall very much in your body, and because of this your large intestine may behave like not normally, and it will lead to diarrhea. That's why many people also develop diarrhea after having some physical practices and yoga and gym, and then they understood it like body is not coping up with that physical activity. It's not like that. We need to add electrolyte with water. Okay, that's the water part. Now let's come to again this slide. Calcium chloride and potassium all maintains fluid and electrolyte balance. So when there is deficiency of sodium, when there is deficiency of potassium and chloride, there will be repeated vomiting, or every time you can say repeated vomiting or diarrhea. These all thing will be happen everywhere. You can see vomiting, diarrhea, and diuretics. Diuretics means urine formation. Urine formation, why? Uh, okay, why deficiency of sodium and potassium will leads to more urine formation?
Sir, use of more sodium and potassium, why it leads to more urine concentration?
Why it leads to more urine formation?
Urine
Con-
form.
yes, it is because as I told you, na, sodium, potassium, and chloride, it is very much responsible to hold water in our body. These are holding water in our body. And if We are not taking these in a specific amount. If you are having deficiency of sodium, potassium, and chloride, then how our body will hold water? That's why when there is deficiency of electrolyte, there is diarrhea. More water comes out of our body in form of stool and in form of urine. Are you understanding this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. In especially in children, when there is deficiency of electrolyte, there is watery stool. It is because our body cannot hold water when there is deficiency of these three minerals. Okay, next is chromium, not that much important. Copper, it is also not that much important. Fluoride, fluoride is responsible for bone and tooth health. Okay, chromium and copper you can just read once, and but don't just force yourself to remember all the functions. Just you can read once. Okay, fluoride is very much important for bone and tooth health, and in deficiency of fluoride, there will be increased cavity formation, there will be tooth decay. Okay, now iodine. Iodine, it is a component of thyroid gland, and with the help of iodine, our body forms a hormone, and that hormone is T3 hormone, triiodothyronine hormone. And while there is deficiency of iodine, so what happens in iodine deficiency? Uh, Iodine is very much responsible for production of T3 hormone. Now, if there is deficiency of T3, thyroid cells are unable to produce this T3 hormone. And what our body thinks that these cells are not working properly. Our body uh, do not know that there is iodine deficiency. Our body thinks that these cells are not working properly, and so our body increase these cells number. And because of increasing of cells number, there is increasing of tissue, and we called it as goiter. Understood? Is this clear? Iodine deficiency?
Sir, it leads to more growth of the tissues, sir.
Like iodine is responsible for T3 production. Like for T3 production, iodine is needed. But when there will be less iodine, T3 production will be less. So our body thinks that the cells producing T3 are not working well. So our body increased cell number of these cells. So it leads to goiter, large growth on the thyroid gland. Now it is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Iron is part of hemoglobin. As I already told you, hemoglobin is made up of two words, heme plus globin. Heme is a Latin word for iron, and globin is a protein. So low iron will ultimately leads to iron deficiency anemia, and it also can alter our cognition. Cognition means our understanding and related to our mental capabilities and immune function in children's. Okay, magnesium is also a part of bones and teeth health. Now we have three nutrients related to bones and teeth. One is magnesium, fluoride, and calcium. One more important part of magnesium, it is helps in activating metabolism of macronutrient. Like three macronutrient are there: carbohydrate, protein, and fat. So magnesium is required to activate the metabolism of these macronutrient. Okay, no need to remember the magnesium deficiency. It is not that much common. Magnesium deficiency only can happen if you are just not taking any diet, if you are not taking, if you are just skipping food for many days, then only it can happen. It is not that much common. Okay, next is manganese. Manganese is a type of antioxidant. Antioxidant means it prevent damage by free radical, and deficiency of manganese is also not that much common. Molybdenum. Molybdenum, again, this one is important. What molybdenums do? It helps in purine degradation and formation of uric acid. As we already discussed, like in protein, there is one NH2 group, amine group present in amino acid or in protein. So while our body is utilizing protein, some amine group are left over. So these amine group are converted in urea in our body, and after this urea is converted into uric acid, and then it will be flushes out of the body through urine. And we already discussed that if someone is having high amount of uric acid, high amount of blood urea, that means he is having high amount of protein from some non-vegetarian sources or from some unnatural sources. So in this process, molybdenum helps. So molybdenum helps in formation of uric acid, and its deficiency is also not that much common. Phosphorus, parts of bones and teeth, and now we have four nutrients along with fluoride and magnesium, calcium, and phosphorus. This is also parts of bone and teeth. Please correlate each nutrient with each other. And phosphorus uh, deficiency is also not that much common like iron and all, but its deficiency is known as hypophosphatemia, and it is not that much common. You can skip that. Selenium. So we have now two nutrients. First one is manganese, other one is selenium as antioxidant. So it is also antioxidant. It means it will protect us from free radical. It will protect us from reactive oxygen species. So selenium deficiency will leads to muscle pain, muscle weakness, and cardiomyopathy. Cardiomyopathy means cardio means heart, myopathy means something wrong in the muscles. So cardiomyopathy means the muscle of heart will not act normal. There will be some problem in muscles of heart. Sodium we already discussed. Sulfur, the most important point in sulfur, that it is a, a part of amino acid. In amino acid, sulfur is present, and it also determines the shape of protein molecule. Like how amino acid will join to form a protein, sulfur determines that shape. Zinc helps in taste perception, and its deficiency can lead to wound healing, impaired appetite, and diarrhea also. So it is also not that much important. This you can remember. So this is all about vitamins and minerals. Don't get confused in so many functions and so many deficiencies. Just try to remember the important functions and deficiency which I told you, and just try to correlate. Like in bone health, these much are responsible. In fluid and electrolyte balance, these much minerals are responsible. You can correlate like that. So is have anyone is having doubt in this vitamins and mineral section? Is there any?
No, sir.
Okay. Now we have last topic of these nutrients, water and dietary fibers. So in this PPT also, I will mark some important point which you need to remember, and else the most important part of water we already discussed, dehydration and how to tackle dehydration. Okay. So water is major component of our body. Approximately 55 to 70% of total body weight is made up of water. Each cell contains water and blood almost made up of water. The percentage of water tends to decrease as a person gets older. This you need to remember. As we will get older, the percentage of water will tend to decrease. Infants and children have a much higher content of water than adults, and fat individual have less water than lean ones. So these all line you can remember because question can be asked from these lines. Water, muscle tissue has 75 to 80% of water, and fat tissue have around 20% water. So the least amount of water is present in fat tissue. That's why those fat individuals, they are having higher amount of this fat tissue, and that's why they have less water than lean ones. Now functions of water are many functions water are doing in our body. First one, water serves as a building material. Like this is our cell. So which in cell there is a fluid present which gives a shape to our cell. So that fluid is known as
Cytoplasm.
cytoplasm or protoplasm also. So water serves as a building material. Next one, water is a universal solvent and is able to dissolve all the product of digestion. In digestion, what is happening? All the nutrients, whether it is carbohydrate, whether it is protein, and also fat, they all are dissolved with enzyme. Enzyme also contains some amount of water. Okay, this we already discussed. Blood has 90% water.
So can you go up, sir, one?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So urine contain around 97% water, and it means water is also helping us to flush out waste material from our body. Water is needed for many chemical reaction to occur in our body. This line you can understood while we were discussing that carbohydrate metabolism. There is a term hydrolysis. Hydrolysis. So hydrolysis means breaking down of any substances when we react that substance with water. Again, hydro means water, lysis means breaking down. So in our body, many reactions are there in which water is needed to break down any substances, and this process is known as hydrolysis. Water act as a lubricant, preventing friction between moving part of the body. So let's we can take example of joint. In joints, which lubricant is present?
Synovial fluid.
Synovial fluid. Body temperature is regulated through the evaporation of water from skin and lungs. Like when we sweat, when we sweat, our body temperature is decreased, because what our body is doing, our body is just passing energy to that water and evaporating that water. So inside our body is getting our body temperature is getting down. Once a question was asked in UGC NET, if a person retains his stool for 3 or 4 days, then what will happen to body temperature?
It will increase, sir.
It will
Increase.
it will increase, because stool, urine, these are also like mediums of our body to get out excess heat in the form of stool, in the form of urine. So if a person is not passing stool for 2 or 3 days, then body temperature will ultimately increase. Requirement: about 1 ml of water is needed per 1 calorie intake. Means if you are taking 2000 calories or 2000 kilocalories, you need around 2000 ml of water. This is a common uh, scale for intake of water, and in general a person can take up to 1.5 or 2 liter of water. Many also say 3 or 4 liter of water, and many books you will also find 4 to 5 liter. It's all like not very much defined actually. If we talk about requirement of water, it is very much changing. Like science and modern science uh, is not very much clear about this intake of water and how to intake water. Modern science is not that much clear. First, there were guidelines that you need to take water throughout the day, so that there will be not that much pressure on your kidney. Now what they are telling you don't need to take water throughout the day, else your kidney will feel like tired, because they have to work whole day. So concept of water of modern science is changing. The first there will be saying, I think you all heard that, like we all should have maximum amount of water. It will increase glow in our face. It will increase our health. But now they are saying you should limit your water intake, else it will lead to water retention or something. So the best thing we can do to regularize our water intake is to follow Ayurveda. What Ayurveda says for our water intake, like there is no proper water intake. You should observe your urine. If your urine is colorless, if your urine is odorless, then your water intake is fine. No need to increase your water intake. But if your urine is colored and if there is odor, then you need to increase your water intake. And water intake is also depend on many condition. Like now it is also discovered that it also depend on our stress level. It is also depend on environmental condition. So just we can follow Ayurveda. Just observe your urine. If it is colorless, if it is odorless, then no need to intake your water, increase your water intake. You can just continue as you are going. But if it is not like that, just increase your water intake. Okay, two problems are associated with water. First one is dehydration. Dehydration means our body is having less water than uh, the need of our body. So the treatment of dehydration is you should take water and electrolyte both. Rehydration solution: coconut water, weak tea, lemon sarbat. All these contain electrolyte. I don't know what weak tea is, but all the remaining oral rehydration solution, coconut water, lemon sarbat, all these contain electrolyte also. So in order to keep the water in our body, in order to retention of water in our body, we need to take electrolyte also. So if there is water dehydration, vomiting will be there, diarrhea will be there, and if we are not taking this condition seriously, this can also ultimately leads to death. It Before some time, when there is not that much awareness, most children or most child death, those are because of this diarrhea only, because people are not aware how to handle that condition. So that condition is very much treatable, but if you are not taking that condition serious, it is also very much fatal. Okay, next one is edema. So edema is retention of water in our skin. There will be swollen skin, swollen legs, swollen hands because of retention of excess fluid in any tissue. So what you will do if you are having edema? What the first measure you will do? Will you decrease water intake?
Water intake decrease.
For
People who are drinking too much of water, yes.
Water intake should decrease, but who is responsible for retention of water?
Retention of water, the osmotic concentration.
Uh, Three minerals were there now who are responsible for
Fluoride,
holding of
sodium,
water.
and potassium.
Yeah, so first thing you need to do, if any one of you or many people are having this edema problem, water retention problem,
Reduce the intake of salt.
reduce the intake of salt. That's why those people who takes more salt, slightly like their face started swelling up and legs started swelling up. So whenever there will be high concentration of sodium and chloride and potassium, there will be high water retention in our body. And I think many of you are aware of this fact. Like if someone is having kidney stone or some problem in kidney, then there is water retention in legs region, and the legs and feet uh, started swelling up. So the reason behind that is, if there is some problem in kidney, then kidney will unable to flush out the extra sodium and chloride. That means sodium and chloride concentration will increase in our blood, increase in our body, and increased sodium and chloride condition will ultimately leads to water retention. So any problem related to water, whether it is edema, whether it is dehydration, you need to keep the amount of electrolyte in mind also. Okay. Next are dietary fiber. Dietary fiber, these dietary fiber are also known as RAFE, and these dietary fiber are a type of carbohydrate, type of polysaccharide which our body cannot digest. So it is a type of polysaccharide which our body cannot digest. Okay. So can you name one polysaccharide?
Starch, sir.
But starch is digestible in our body, na? That's why we take a potato, wheat, and rice.
That body cannot digest, a polysaccharide that body cannot digest.
That is having zero calorific value.
Fiber, general, whatever the fibrous part that we have in fruits and vegetables.
That fiber and cellulose chitin. These all are names of those fibers. So cellulose is present in grass, and our body cannot digest that cellulose. That's why we cannot eat grass. But some animals like cows and grass eating animal, they can digest that cellulose. So they can take energy from that cellulose only. So these dietary fiber, as our body cannot digest, so these are having zero calorific value. Then why are we eating these fiber? Why are we eating grass? It is because except giving energy to our body, these fiber have very much important function in our body. One of the most important function of dietary fiber is that it helps in peristalsis movement. Peristalsis movement. Peristalsis movement means this is your large intestine. In large intestine, waste material would be there. So peristalsis movement means slowly this waste material will move forward in your large intestine. So movement of waste material in large intestine, this movement is increased by dietary fiber, because those dietary fiber are having a rough surface area. So that's why our large intestine can uh, force this waste material more. If it will be soft like maida or something else, then speed of this waste material in our large intestine will be decreased and it will lead to constipation. But if you are taking dietary fiber, this peristalsis movement increases and the chances of constipation decreased. In nowadays scenario, two major we can say factor in our diet that leads to constipation are: first one is less dietary fiber. We all are eating refined flours, we all are eating pulses without the fiber part. We are not taking vegetables, so it will ultimately leads to less fiber in our large intestine and decreased peristalsis movement. Other one is less intake of water. So if anyone is having constipation, you can just try to increase your dietary fiber intake and you can just try to increase your water intake. 50-60% solution you can get from there. The remaining 50-60% solution will comes from reducing your stress level. Okay, so fiber can be classified into two parts. First one is soluble fiber, other one is insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber is those fiber which can be dissolved in water, and insoluble fiber are those fiber which cannot be dissolved in water. So soluble fiber mostly help to control blood cholesterol and glucose level. How these soluble fiber helps in blood cholesterol and controlling glucose level? It is because these soluble fiber in your digestive tract, these soluble fiber will join with cholesterol, will join with glucose and prevent absorbing of cholesterol and glucose. So it can reduce blood cholesterol and glucose level. It is not like that these soluble fiber will go into your blood and then decrease blood cholesterol and glucose level. Fiber does not work like that, because fiber cannot be absorbed in our body because they are not digestible. Fiber just join with these blood cholesterol and these glucose level, fiber will just join with cholesterol and glucose in your large intestine and prevent absorption of these cholesterol and glucose. So if absorption of cholesterol and glucose will be prevented, it will be ultimately leads to decreased blood cholesterol and glucose level. This function is done by soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is found in oats, peas, beans, apple. No need to remember sources of these soluble fiber because most sources contain soluble fiber and insoluble fiber both.
You came to our class.
Huh?
Class.
I will directly come to class. Sorry, insoluble fiber promotes the movement of material through our digestive system. That peristalsis movement, which I told you, it is done by insoluble fiber. So insoluble fiber is helping to eliminate constipation, and soluble fiber is helping to decrease blood cholesterol and glucose level. Okay, so this is all about fiber. These we already discussed. Is anyone having any doubt in this? You can ask.
So please share the slides, sir.
Yeah, I will share today's slide also. From next, just 2 days are remaining to complete this diet and nutrition. Then after, we will start a new subject after this. So if you are not having any doubt, we can wind up today's class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.